Why changing friends is important for growth. Hi, everybody. This is Bernie Gallerani bringing you another episode of Success is Not Convenient, where we try to align the challenges that we all face with the level of success that we're trying to accomplish. And sometimes, a lot of times, actually, most of the time, people get very discouraged because they underestimate the amount of work, mental and physical work that it takes to be successful or find that level of success. As we've always said on this show, success kind of shows up and then hides when it wants to. And we're searching and we're digging and we're trying to find it. And what we think should cause success usually doesn't. And that might be something to write down. What you envision will cause success usually doesn't. But one thing that I do know always does work with success showing up more is that you have to stay really consistent with the process. So it's somewhat of a hit and miss opportunity in that we know consistency is the key to growth, right? We understand that we have to keep doing the same thing over and over again, even though we don't really feel like we're seeing growth. If we have a desire to continue with the process, usually success will show up. And that's really being consistent, I guess, is what we're going with here. And so why changing friends is important in the process of growth. And it's not that your old friends need to go away. That's not what we're saying at all here. What we're saying is that you'll find that you don't have as much in common with your friends before that you'll have with your new friends moving forward. What do I mean by that? Well, when you change your friends, it's important that you change the friends to those that want to grow. And what I have found in the life that I've had is that your friends are still your friends. They don't go anywhere. You end up just having less in common with them, right? Like your environment, the people you hang out with, it shapes your behavior. I mean, I could give you a great example of that. I actually have somebody still in the company today where years and years ago, I kind of noticed that this person had this potential, but yet wasn't committed to the business. And so I knew something was off. And then one day in a social event, I was able to meet the friends that this person was hanging out with, and the one that they would call maybe not best friends, but really good friends. And after that encounter, I said to the person who I worked with, I said, that actually shows me why you're behaving the way you have. And she looked at me and said, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, based on the things that I've seen you do in work, lines up with the people I just saw you introduce me to that you hang out with. And so remember this, that the people you surround yourself also influence your mindset. So write that one down. Like if you're writing notes here, write down that, am I hanging out with the people who I'm trying to be like in my life? I'm going to say that to you. Am I hanging out with the people that are the people that I would really want to influence my life and my mindset and your actions, right? The habits that you have, the way you look at things, all of those things are super important. And who you hang out with shapes your future destiny. I know it sounds crazy, right? Have you ever had friends that you hung out with, you did certain things with, and you thought a certain way, and then you started changing a little bit how you look at the situation, then you realize that you no longer have anything in common with those friends. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. Did they change or did you change? Did they change or did you change? And most likely you probably changed if you're identifying the problem, right? Because your friends, if you're looking for a circle of value of growth, so people that you align yourself that you think are growing, right? Growing people, and you create with those relationships, you become more disciplined. You have more positivity. You want to be more like to reflect those behavior patterns than your old friends and the people you used to hang out with. And so I look back even on my life today and think about the people I used to associate with, and gosh, it's not that I don't love and care for them. It's that we just have grown apart, and it's okay to grow apart from people. It's okay where your life has a different trajectory in it where your friends don't actually see that for themselves, right? I said something to somebody, something once on a, I've talked about this on other podcasts that I've done about a friend of mine who had this business idea that I didn't think was a great idea. And anyways, make a long story short, that person ended up going off and making millions and millions of dollars with the idea that I thought was stupid. I learned a lot from that though, and that was sometimes somebody has a dream you don't see. Sometimes somebody sees something that you don't see. Sometimes people behave in a manner or work in a manner that you just don't understand. And I would say that for some of you, my successful friends out there, you probably have some very positive processes and actions and lifestyle that other people in your life and other friends in your life don't understand, right? Success isn't just about what you do, it's about who you do it with. And when you grow away from people, you realize that you want to do it with them less. You realize that no matter how much fun you had before, you've moved past that way of thinking. There's a lot of people out there that don't change how they think. They don't change how they think, right? Like so they have, what do we say? When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And sometimes when you're in a situation with people that you've hung out with for months or years or decades, and you start changing the way you look at a situation, and then you start looking at the situation with those friendships different because those friends haven't changed. I know somebody that I know pretty well that lives in the 80s, and their mindset's in the 80s, and their attitude reflects that, and so they can't move out of the 80s. You kind of know what I'm talking about. You've seen those people that are just kind of stuck in their situation. The question for you is, how do you change it? Because not everyone grows at the same pace. We all change how we grow, and basically based on what we want or what our influences are. So something that we should all look at is ask ourselves, is the person that I'm hanging out with right now aligning with what I'm trying to accomplish? You know, as you evolve, some friends may stay stuck in the same mindset, the same habits, the same lifestyle. And you look at this going, well, Bernie, isn't that consistent? Yes, it is consistent, but you also have to have growth. You also have to adapt. You're probably not the same person at 20 than you are at 30, or you shouldn't be. You're probably not the same person at 30 than you are at 40. You're probably not the same person at 40 than you are at 50. And the question is, should you be? I don't know. I don't know what's right for you. All I can tell you is I'm definitely not the same person I was in my 20s. You know who I was in my 20s? An irresponsible, inconsiderate, self-serving individual that didn't think about many other things than myself. You can't be that kind of person. You have to grow from that. And if you continue to hang out with people that have those same kind of thoughts and feelings, then you're going to be that in your 30s and your 40s and your 50s. So are you stuck? Does the life you have work? Are all the goals that you're trying to accomplish, is it all happening for you? Do you feel totally fulfilled that you're moving forward in your life? And if you don't, maybe look at the people you hang out with. Who are your friends? It's not their fault, it's your fault. And I'm going to say that. Your friends who you hang out with, your associates who you call friends, if they stay there, it doesn't mean you have to. So what do you have to do? What do you have to do to have better habits and create a better lifestyle for yourself? Friends are a big influence, and what they say and how they say it and how you respond to it and what you believe in is the key here. If you don't buy into it anymore, or you shouldn't be buying into it anymore because you're not seeing growth, then you need to change the people that you talk to and the people that you hang out with. When you have your friends where they're not evolving at the level you are, then this gap that you have between your friendships grows wider, and that can create massive tension and even guilt on your part, right? I mean, I think, and it's interesting because in coaching people through business, I find that, and I've heard and we've talked about it, that success is usually not in people's life just because they don't know how to do it. Sometimes success is not there because they feel guilty for having it. And so what they do is they try to relate to their friends because they feel bad because they've had a level of success. So they kind of get pulled back into that. And you got to be careful about that, because as you grow and build relationships with better, stronger, more enthusiastic people who are pushing you forward, you can feel really guilty for those that you've left behind. Don't allow yourself to feel guilty. Spend more time with people that are pushing you, who are creating massive energy for you, that are fueling you in a manner that says, man, I can't be stopped. If your friends drain your energy with negativity and drama and laziness, you have less energy for all the goals that you're trying to set, right? You have, it's interesting, and I know this is a little bit off in left field, but they always talk about these really brilliant, like, tech guys, right? And if you notice, they always wear like these jeans and these same colored shirts all the time. And they say, if in the reports that I've read, it says, they don't like to overthink because they have to think all day long. They save their brain energy for the work that they do. Sometimes when you're hanging out with people that create drama, it sucks all your energy out. Who wants to have that? Who wants to have a friend that you just feel fully exhausted for? Do you guys have any of that? Do you have anybody in your life right now that you feel a little bit drained over? Somebody that's every time you're around them, they pull you down? I know I have those people where everything is negative. Everything is about emotion. Everything is about drama. Everything is about poor me. Everything's about poor them. You ever have people like that? Man, I'll tell you what I want is like uplifting, supportive people that refill my energy bucket, helps me push me even further than I am. And what's really fun is when you get to understand how all of this works, you'll start to understand, man, could it be the fact that I'm not hanging out with the right people? You become like who you're around. You are the average of your 5 closest friends. So I want you guys to look at that for a minute and go, okay, what does this mean? I want you to look at your 5 closest friends, the 5 people you hang out with the most. Go ahead and do it just for a minute. Think about it. Who do I like spending my time with? Who am I the most influenced by? Who do I talk to the most? Who do I hang out with the most? Who do I go do certain things with the most? Pick 5 people and then ask yourself this question. Are they pushing me to where I want to go, or are they holding me back from all the dreams that I have? And that's a real hard reality. I think all of us have people, and what you have to look at is not get rid of your friends, but ask yourself this: how do I surround myself with inspiring, growing people that it makes it easier for me to level up naturally? How do I go find the people that push me up? Because I can tell you this, I've had very negative, poor-minded people who I've had a lot of fun with. And I've had some people that have inspired me, that encourage me, that push me because they push themselves. And you find as you start to grow and you change your friends a little bit, that you find people that are actually just as fun. The only thing is they can have a lot more fun because they make a lot more money. And I can tell you this, because I've been poor and I've been rich, in that being poor is fine, being rich is fine, but there's a lot more fun in being rich than there is in being poor. No matter what anybody tells you, money is not the root of all evil. Money is never the root of all evil, because you're already evil. It doesn't matter. Money has nothing to do with it if you're an evil person. It just makes you more of what you are. Money just makes you more of what you already are. But I also want you guys to look at this. Sometimes most of the time, everybody does this, no matter what stage of growth you're in, whether you're not growing at all and you're just kind of stuck in the 80s, or you're a person who has massive growth going on in their life. I want you to write this down. Comfort is a trap, no matter what direction you're in. If you're on this lack of growth life, that you're not achieving all the things you want to achieve in life, it's because of comfort. Some people might argue and go, well, how's that comfortable? I can't hardly pay my rent. I can barely eat. I'm struggling in my life, and I'm still going to say that you're comfortable because you're not willing to get outside of your familiarity of what you're doing every day to create something different. Familiarity isn't always a healthy thing. You have to grow from that and make yourself uncomfortable constantly. My mentor said this to me years and years ago. He says, remember this: if you're comfortable, you're stuck. If you're comfortable, you're not growing. And a really good, wealthy friend of mine said to me one time, and I love this when she said it, and thank you so much for the saying, in that she says, I'm really appreciative from where I am. I just don't want to stay here very long. And that's really a growth mindset that says, man, I love where I am. If somebody looks at me and goes, man, you know what, how come you're never happy with where you are? I'm just not. I always want to grow. It doesn't mean I'm not happy in my life. It doesn't mean I'm not blessed and feel very grateful for everything I have. Every day is a blessing. Every day you get up every day and live a fantastic, beautiful life. But growth in me is what I want. If I'm not growing, then I'm dying. And the question is it too much for some? Maybe, but you should try it on for a little while. Try to put yourself in an uncomfortable position. Try to get yourself some better friends that think positive, and you watch how your life absolutely changes. Old friends can unconsciously keep you in your own self-resisting any sort of change or transformation. They want to hold you down, your old friends. Your new friends want to push you up. And so the question that you want to ask yourself is, if you're not growing with your old friends, go find some new friends that want to make you and allow you to grow, because people that I hang out with expect me to grow. That's what they challenge me with. Do I call them friends? Yes. Do they expect more out of my life? Yes. Should I expect more out of my life? Yes. And remember, not everyone's going to celebrate all your wins. Your friends that aren't growing aren't always going to like what you're doing because you're taking time away from them and you're having different kinds of conversation. Jealousy and passive aggression or a lack of support can creep in from any friendship. And so you always have to watch that. You have to protect what conversation goes on in your head. You have to protect or stay away from negative conversations that are shot at you. Remember this, like your friends have lower standards. That can rub off on you. Low standards, somebody that has low standards, it can rub off on you. And if they normalize their procrastination and complaining and making excuses, so you will eventually follow them, that is not a good thing for you. So look at who your environment is, look at who your friends are, and have high standards. Reinforce your ideas and go find people who support you. Don't be, the friends are like, hey, let's go out and party, man. Let's go out and drink. Let's go out and have fun. All that stuff is okay. Nothing wrong with that. We all need to go out and let our hair out sometimes and have a good time. But remember this, you still have to get up in the morning and go to work. You still have to go and do the job and the thing that you have for growth and the things that you're paying yourself to be, the person who is fully disciplined and shows up and has a growth mindset is the person who you need to be, even in the midst of having fun. It's okay to have fun. Don't lose yourself in conquering the goal that has to happen. You have to always say yes to the future, but sometimes you must say no to the past. You can't always, you can be excited for the future, say yes to the future, but living in the past is still the past. Remember we're talking about people that get stuck in the 80s? Why? You know who I'm talking about. Everybody's got friends that are stuck in the 80s, right? I mean, some of you guys might be young enough where you were born in the 80s. Some of you might be young enough you were born in the 90s. I'm not sure. But I'm old enough where 80s was my teenage years. And you see those people all the time. You can just look at them and tell they're stuck in the 80s. You don't have to fall in what you're comfortable with. I need you to lean into what you're not comfortable with. Now, you don't have to hate or cut people off harshly, but distancing can be healthy and necessary at times. Sometimes it's just you grow from people so much, away from people so much that you just don't have anything else in common. And that's okay. Because now you're hanging out with really successful people. You're not hanging out with non-successful people. Changing friends isn't about your ego or thinking that you're better than others. It's really about your alignment with your life. Put that one down. How do I align my life with people that I want to be like? You want to be like growth-minded friendships. That's what you want. You want growth-minded friendships. You want people in your life that are your cheerleaders. They inspire you, they support you, and they are matching you in their energy level and their level of success. Letting go doesn't mean even betraying your roots. It means choosing your future so you can actually have the life you want. Don't allow yourself to be caught in that trap. Don't allow yourself to be put in a position where living the life that you lived in the 80s and the 90s and, maybe even, 15, 20 years ago. You don't have to live that life anymore. You can be a person who has everything you want, but it starts with you looking at and determining with yourself or for yourself maybe, is this working for me? Is this relationship allowing me to move in the manner and in the range that I want to grow in? And if it's not, you have a choice. You have a choice to go out and find people in your life that will push you forward, that'll expect more from you. And I absolutely get it, because as a coach and a trainer for my company, I know how hard it is to get people to see things. Matter of fact, it's very frustrating when we look at an individual that we think has a lot of talent and we're trying to change behaviors. And behaviors don't change very easy. And that's one thing I think we have to understand is you're like, well, Bernie, how do I put myself in a position where, okay, I'm alienating my friends and I want to go find all these really great people that inspire me. But man, I'm having a hard time and I'm having a struggle making those changes. That's okay. Remember, success is not convenient. Just because you have an excitement about success doesn't mean you're going to have it come overnight. You are going to have to work day in and day out to change small behaviors of growth. It takes a long time, but you don't need old friends pulling you down. You need new friends pulling you up. I wanted to say thank you all for joining me on this podcast. And this is always a hard one because what we're talking about is changing our friends, sometimes our family, sometimes we're pushing people away. A lot of people are never going to relate to you. By the way, growth-minded people are very small, very complacent, non-growth-minded people are very large. What I mean by that is there's plentiful amount of the people that are not growing in life. That's the reason why most people don't have any money. That's the reason why most people live in poverty. That's the reason why most people are not happy, is because they're stuck in the same mundane life that they always have. And what I'm asking you to do is don't allow yourself to get caught in that trap. Don't put yourself in that position. Your life's way too important. You got one life to live. And if living it, partying and drinking and doing all the things that really don't matter in life, then you go ahead and do that. But if you want to have an abundant life, a life where you have all of the money you can ever want to do or all the fun you could ever want to have, then you need to change things in that process. So I want to thank you all for joining. I appreciate you guys taking the time on this. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button. We would love to continue to keep bringing this material to you. I hope everybody has a great day.